It's time for the first Best of the Week comic book rundown for 2024, and it has not started out with a bang, to be completely honest. And obviously here with me is Drew from Comics Lead. How you doing, Drew?
Doing great, Wes. It's Saturday. Culture playing tonight. Did some writing and editing today, but I make time to talk about the best comics of the week. So let's talk about these, quote, best comics of the week, end quote.
This is like a banner week. I don't think we've ever had a week where we didn't recommend any comic book.
No, yeah, it is. Yeah, there's always, typically more indies than Marvel and DC for us that we're recommending. But yeah, this is the very first time in, 2-3 years now? No indies.
Yeah. But there weren't a whole lot of big name titles for some reason. Although Marvel had a bunch of number ones, I would say a lot of those didn't really hit. But I guess I'll recommend Vengeance of the Moon Knight #1, Jed MacKay, Alessandro Cappuccio on this one. Obviously, this is the beginning of whatever the new Moon Knight is going to be. And we do have some characters in the beginning kind of saying goodbye to Mark Spector. And it is dealing a whole lot with grief, at least for the first half, maybe a little bit more than that of the book itself. But it does pick up in the second half. But the art by Alessandro Cappuccio still remains the major selling point of the book.
Yes, and it shows 100% why he is the Moon Knight guy right now. And he is terrific. But yeah, the story, I'm very going either way on this one. There's a few issues this week where I go either way on. Like the story for this one, I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's not great. It's not bad. But they're playing that game of who's really Moon Knight? Are you Moon Knight? I don't know. Am I Moon Knight? Who's Moon Knight? It's like, don't give me this shit. This tell us who it is. They're trying to have it both ways. I'm not a fan of that. But because we all know Mark Spector is real Moon Knight. But it's okay. It's not great. It could have been a heck of a lot worse.
What is clear about the book is that Reese is the star of Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Moon Knight is not the star. The Midnight Mission is not the star. It's Reese, the vampire that was the secretary for Mark Spector before. She's going through the psychologist or whatever. And we do get the big reveal that Moon Knight is back. And the look is absolutely amazing. It's lights out. And Reese believes this might be Mark Spector has already been resurrected, but it's like a flawed version of him or a corrupted version of Mark Spector. And I do believe it's a red herring. I don't believe this is Mark Spector. I think it's somebody else. That's the Moon Knight. But I guess that's one of the big selling points of the comic book is the mystery itself.
Yeah, it is the mystery. And honestly, I can only hope it is Mark Spector. I know it probably isn't, but please be him. Please bring him back as soon as possible because, look, I'm not a fan of Reese. She was a glorified secretary who's suddenly thrust into being the bigwig. Why? What justifies her being the leader of the Midnight Mission now? You tell me.
Well, Mark Spector told her that he needed her to carry on his mission once he died.
But why? You're a secretary. There's nothing telling me that you should be thrust into the Moon Knight chair wearing the white suit. It makes no sense at all. Nightwing becoming Batman? Absolutely. A glorified secretary becoming Moon Knight? That's a bit of a stretch.
But I am excited to see more of this new Moon Knight because the look is very good. And once again, the art is spectacular. But this isn't the highest recommended in the history of the world.
No, absolutely not. No.
Definitely not. We're also going to recommend, well, mostly you, Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy #5, Ron Mars, Ron Lim. And we see an old adversary of the Silver Surfer in this comic book. His name is Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto or Mephistopheles, if you will, derivative of him. But yeah, it's Silver Surfer in hell, effectively taking on Mephisto. And the art in this by Ron Lim is beautiful. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And there's a lot of action in this. It's really kinetic, this issue. And we see pretty much, I love how we get toward the end with Mephisto, where he winds up in the end, or the beginning, if you will, with Mephisto. It's great stuff. This is truly Silver Surfer at his best. You got both the Rons working on this. I hope we get another volume of this. If you missed out on this, please do check this out. This should be coming out in trade, hopefully very soon. What they're building here is something very special and unique. This is what Marvel should be doing right now. More stories like Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy. And I cannot recommend this highly enough. This is, to me, I think probably the best book of the week.
And hopefully on a third volume, it'll be Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy Legends, because we can't get enough subtitles in comic book titles these days.
No, not enough subtitles, not enough colons.
Not at all. whatsoever. So those are our Marvel Comics recommendations. Also going to recommend over at DC Comics, Batman 141, Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez. This is the end of the 3-issue Mind Bomb story arc. And there's not a ton to this comic book, but the art by Jorge Jimenez is quite spectacular. It's mostly one enormous chase and fight scene going on between Failsafe, who's now been overtaken by the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, basically chasing down our Batman himself. But it kind of puts us back to where we were before Chip Zdarsky ran this thing directly off the road and took the wrong corner, to where he's setting up Failsafe to be the big villain. Unfortunately, this is about to be derailed for Joker Year 1, which I don't think is a story that we probably need. But this is easily the best issue of Batman Chip Zdarsky has written since the issue before Batman surfed a rocket body from the moon to the earth and then landed it at the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, which I think was almost a year ago to this day. I think that was almost a year ago at this point, that issue. Because in May was the Batman in the Zur-En-Arrh multiverse. So yeah, this had to have been around this time last year. It shows you how long it's been, how much of this dry spell we've been in with Batman. But yeah, Jorge Jimenez's art in this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I did love the action in this, but I got to be perfectly honest with you. I am done with Failsafe. I want no more of him. I'm checked out on him. Him versus the Terminator again. I'm done. Let's move on from this. And I definitely don't want Joker.
I have bad news for you, Drew. DC's Trinity of Evil, Batman and Zur-En-Arrh in Failsafe's body, is one of the Trinity.
God damn it. It's just, this is one of the stupidest ideas they've come up with, and they're giving Chip Zdarsky way too much leeway with no editorial oversight. I can't think of a single person who wants this. If you want this, why? But let's.
I wanted it a year ago.
Okay, I didn't.
When it was happening, and it was actually good.
Yeah, when it was a year ago, when it was good, but now it feels like we're really still kind of off course. We're not back on track with Batman yet. It's kind of slightly veering back on course, but I can't give it a full complete recommend. It's a good issue. It's not great. It's not bad, but the next issue, I don't know if we'll be recommending it, but we'll see what happens.
In a dead week, it stands out as better than most of everything else that was coming out. The next one is Superman 78, The Metal Curtain #3, Robert Venditti, Gavin Guidry. If this thing had better art, it would definitely be a better reading experience. This is almost fully driven by Robert Venditti, the writer, in my opinion. And certainly the best parts are in Perry's office when you have Christopher Reeve's Superman, Margot Kidder's Lois Lane, and they're having that conversation. It just felt like it was right out of the movie universe. We are getting more exploration of who Metallo is in this universe. And I thought they did a good job demonstrating just how powerful this character is and how he's kind of evolving, working out with a tank, which I thought was pretty fun. But I just really wish it had better art.
Yeah, I will say the art is really good. I do like the art. And it's
if
not.
If you don't like backgrounds and you like really basic stuff, it's good.
Well, I think that's what he's trying to show. The focus is Christopher Reeve. The focus is Superman. The focus is it's Hal Jordan. You know, the pilot, the fighter pilot, and Metallo, and that's who I'm looking at. I understand people like. There's a big knock the comics from the 90s got. There weren't that many backgrounds. I mean, hey, I'm not looking at the backgrounds. I'm focused on the characters, and I'm focused on what they're telling me, because this is a narratively driven issue. So we're focused on the characters and what they're telling us, and that's what I'm looking at. And I can absolutely go with that. And the last page, I cannot wait for the next issue. We get the return of a certain character from the Superman movie series, and it should be exciting, should be fun and engaging and enjoyable. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was my second best issue of the week, right here, right behind Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy. This is a solid issue. Please do check this out. Superman at his best, right here.
And we also got to see the first interaction between that version of Superman and Sam Lane was also thrown in there. The final comic book we're going to be recommending, and I do think this was a bold choice on your part. I'm not recommending this. Was all Drew. I'm not even gonna go halfway down it. Titans Beast World Tour Atlantis #1, Cena Grace, Frank Thierry, and Megan Fitzmartin.
So, okay, I'm gonna say this. There's a little asterisk by this, like with Barry Bonds' home run record. There's an asterisk right here. All right. So I am recommending it for the first story by Sina Grace and Ricardo Federici. But the Ricardo Federici art in that first story is arguably the best illustrated comic book work this week. Yes, I'm saying Jorge Jimenez is a close second, but Ricardo Federici's interior art, that is the standout this week. His art is absolutely beautiful. It's horrific in pages. It's action-packed. I love it. Sina Grace did a decent job in this first story. He didn't put any of his Iceman or political BS into the story, which is saying a lot. I'm surprised he could do it. But the other stories after that, I cannot recommend. So this one, I'm recommending it mostly for the Ricardo Federici art in that first story. You will be blown away if you have not checked this out.
So you recommended people spend $6 for like 12 pages of story?
That art, I mean, look, that art is, it's hard to not justify spending money for that art. That's all I got to say. Because you see that page, that panel with Aquaman and I think it's King Shark, or is it? It's beautiful. It's like, yes, I want more of this. More comics should be like this.
Very interesting. So you're begging DC for more Sina Grace, Ricardo Federici on Aquaman.
I am saying I want more Ricardo Federici. If he's giving us Aquaman, absolutely. I'll gladly take a Ricardo Federici drawn Aquaman series.
Hey, listen, this is the most surprising thing that's happened to me in 2024. I did not think we were going to be recommending any Titans Beast World Tour tie-in comic books, but you surprised me. I appreciate you going off the grid there.
Like we said, this is not the best week. It's one of the, we're not starting off strong. The comics we're choosing this week a lot of them aren't the best. So I'm digging. You know, I'm trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and this is what we got.
I was almost 100% certain that you were going to recommend Neil before Zod.
No, I can't. I wanted to. I really, really wanted to.
So did I, but it was just so
it was boring. It was boring. Yeah, absolutely.
It was just like all exposition.
Yeah, it was the biggest disappointment.
Go into like the strengths of the artist Dan McDade at all.
Absolutely, it is the biggest disappointment of the week. That Neil before Zod.
Yeah, there you go. I was almost certain that you were going to bring that one up, and I was going to, because I personally couldn't. I just thought it was boring. So there we go. Not the greatest week in the history of the world to start off 2024. But there we go. That's what we've got. And we've got the playoffs on the horizons. If the Colts win, are they in?
Colts win. They are in and potentially win the division. Potentially. So there's still that chance because there's a three-way tie right now between the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Titans. So we'll see what happens.
Very good. Now, if you're looking for more comic book coverage, specifically on new comic books of the week, Drew and I absolutely knock it out of the park every single Saturday right here on the channel. But we do have a more long-form version of this kind of video where it's the Hot or Not podcast with Jim from Weird Science. We do it every Thursday, and we talk about all the new releases of Marvel, DC, and the indie comic book scene. Usually lasts about 2 hours, and obviously you get it a few days earlier than the best of the week if you're looking for the creme de la creme and also the comic books that you need to avoid. If you have not checked that one out, if you haven't seen what we're offering on the Patreon, there is a link in the video description.